Whilst I'm on the topic of the mode, I'm on a full-on rant now. Try and stop me. What we have here is an all-new purpose-built electric SUV with a body that looks like a coupe, a muscle car and an SUV made sweet, sweet love. Ford claims it can offer over 370 miles of range, which sounds fantastic. However, Ford did something which was rather bold. They chose the Mustang name and the Mustang badge for this car, and already you've got a car that has been judged before it has even been driven. But what happens when you look past the badge? Oh, and in case you can't, I've got a solution. There we are, good as new. With that out of the way, let's go for a drive. Well, for starters, you get an electric SUV which is flexible because there are quite a few different options for the Mach-E. You can either have a standard range model which has a 75.5 kilowatt hour battery that has a range of up to 273 miles, or you can have the extended range, which is what I've got, that has a 98.8 kilowatt hour battery, therefore offers a range of up to 379 miles. It's also a choice of either rear-wheel drive or, like this car, all-wheel drive. Now, of course, if you go for the all-wheel drive version, the range does fall down a little bit, but not by too much. If you do happen to go for this version, you'll crack 62 miles per hour in just 5.8 seconds, which is astounding. That is hot hatch territory. Even more amazing when you bear in mind this car weighs well over 2 tons. The top speed, which is pretty irrelevant, is 111 miles per hour. However, if this particular Mustang Mach-E is a bit pedestrian for you, then there is the option of the GT. That has, wait for it, 565 horsepower along with 830 newton meters of torque. I mean, come on, 830! You would have to employ a dedicated team to re-tarmac the road behind you because you would have torn it up. My word! Now, for context, this car offers 351 horsepower along with 580 newton meters of torque. When it comes to charging times, you can get the Mach-E from 10% to 80% in 45 minutes when using a 150 kilowatt charger, but in my experience, when me and good friend and fellow YouTuber Pocket Rockets had the extended range rear wheel drive version, that was taking around 1 hour and a half to charge to 80. Although that was using a 120 kilowatts charger, but either way, quite a slow charging time. Now, I was hoping to do a long range test in this, but sadly my plans didn't quite work out. But if you do want to see what the Mustang Mach-E can do on a long range test, then head over to the Pocket Rockets channel, because me and him went on a very ambitious trip from Land's End to John O'Groats. How did it end? Well, watch the video and you'll find out. That's all I'm going to say. In regard to my experience with the range, I would say it's been relatively true. So I left my flat in Worthing with 182 miles, and I got to my filming location near Goodwood with around 150 miles, I believe. and to get to my flat, to my location, is around, I'd say, 25 or so miles. So that's probably about on the money, isn't it? In regard to pricing, this car, the all-wheel drive extended range, has a starting price of £58,320. Guess what? This car has no options, which is quite surprising. Pretty much every car I review has some kind of option, even if it's the paint, but no, this car is completely standard. So what you see is what you'd get. If you can't quite stretch to that, then the rear-wheel drive standard range version, that has a starting price of around £42,500. What exactly do you get for your money? The rear-wheel drive version boasts standard features including 18-inch alloys, LED lights, leather seats, heated front seats which are also 8-way electronically adjustable, heated steering wheel, 10.2-inch digital instrument cluster, 15.5-inch touchscreen, navigation, smartphone connectivity, wireless phone charging, keyless entry, front and rear parking sensors, reversing camera, adaptive cruise control, dual zone climate control, as well as safety kit including blind spot monitoring, autonomous emergency braking and rear cross traffic alert. So as you can see, the Mustang Mach-E comes with plenty as standard. The all-wheel drive version adds to this with 19-inch alloys, adaptive LED headlights, black power fold door mirrors, 360-degree camera, hands-free power tailgate, panoramic roof, B&O sound system including dashboard soundbar and park assist. When it comes to practicality, the Ford Mustang Mach-E is a mixed bag. Rear space is generous even for my height of 6'2", and there's also a good amount of interior storage as well. Getting a comfortable driving setup is a doddle as well, but many are likely to find boot space disappointing. With the rear seats up, it offers just 402 litres, which is far behind some of its rivals such as the Tesla Model Y, the Volkswagen ID4 and the Hyundai Ioniq 5. The rear seats can be folded down to liberate 1,420 litres, but it's still not class leading. There's also the frunk, or as I call it, the fruit, front boot, and that offers 81 litres, but you'll be limited with what you can put in there. Interestingly though, Ford seems to think that you can fit a human in there, judging by the emergency release button inside. Perhaps Ford thinks that its target buyers are contortionists, who knows. Oh, and for those of you wondering about child seats, I was able to fit one with minimal fuss. As you would expect from any modern car, I do have a choice of drive modes, although Ford has come over a little bit pretentious when it has come to the naming. Normally, you'd have Eco, Normal or perhaps Comfort and Sport. No, not in this car, because in fact what I do have is, wait for this, Whisper, Active and Untamed. I mean, come on Ford, just call a spade a spade. Why are you giving it fancy names that it doesn't need? When I first drove this car back in June, July this year, I jumped in it. I thought, what do these driving modes mean? Untamed, what does that mean? Just Ford, stop it. On the topic of things that are somewhat pretentious, under the speed, it says ground speed. Why? I've never got into a car and thought, hang on a minute, am I doing airspeed or ground speed? If only there was something on the dash to tell me. Again, just, yeah. Whilst I'm on the topic of the mode, I'm on a full-on rant now. Try and stop me. The key, it annoys me because this is a bespoke electric SUV that Ford has built from the ground up. This particular one is almost £60,000, yet I have a key which looks like it came from a 1 litre Fiesta. Hopefully you can see that. But yeah, Ford, little things. Give us a proper bespoke key to go with your proper bespoke car. Anyway, that is enough moaning. I'm sure there's some of you that are thinking, Aaron, have you got nothing good to say about this car? Well, I do. For starters, it is quite good fun to drive. It is engaging. It's quite good in the corners, although the steering, whilst it is responsive, which is good, like the Ford Cougar, I had a few weeks ago, the steering wheel is a bit too eager to self-centre. It feels like you're having to wrestle it a little bit when you're going through the corners. You're mid-corner and you can feel the steering wheel want to re-centre and correct itself. I don't quite like that. When I drove the rear-wheel drive version with pocket rockets, I did also mention that the brakes lacked feeling, but in this car, weirdly enough, the brakes do actually feel a bit better. The feedback through the pedal is a bit more natural, and I do find it easier to modulate and progress my depression off the pedal. Maybe I've just got used to it, who knows. Another thing I like about the car is the power. So, about to go into national speed limit, foot down, and my word, yeah, that's 58 miles per hour, time to stop. Yeah, and what I like is in Untamed, the more power you use, the more the kind of amber, not chevrons, but the amber lines come across the digital display. There's a good amount of grip on offer, as well as you would expect from the car having all-wheel drive. And this is an electric SUV, which is genuinely quite good fun to drive. Of course, you haven't got the engine noise to help with the atmosphere. Actually, yes, you do, because one of the features in this very large touchscreen, which looks like it's been stolen from a Tesla, is you've got propulsion mode. Hit it. Oh, it's not working. How strange. Well, that is annoying. Well, what I was going to say is when you hit it, you get kind of a fake engine noise that comes through the speakers. It almost sounds like Ford's attempt to replicate what a proper Mustang should sound like. I'm rather indifferent to it. I don't personally like it or dislike it. It's just there. But yeah, I'd love to demonstrate it, but I can't for some reason. Maybe if I changed the driving modes, although that shouldn't make a difference. No, it's gone on strike. How strange. After filming this footage, I did actually manage to get the feature to work. It just fixed itself somehow. So hopefully the next bit of footage will give you an idea of how it sounds. Now I'm at lower speeds, I can draw your attention to the ride, which isn't great if I'm going to be honest. Once you get up to speed on a smooth road, the ride isn't too bad. It isn't a magic carpet, but it's bearable. Whereas around town or slower speeds, the ride is firm and rather busy. It is an annoyance. Would I go so far to say it's uncomfortable? No, but it is close to it. Thankfully, these seats are wonderful to sit in. The leather is really supple and yeah, you can mould your body into them. So that is a saving grace. But if you want your electric SUV to have a nice ride, don't go for this car because you will be disappointed. Down here is fine, but driving around town, it is likely to irk you. When it comes to refinement, I'd say that's average. It's not too bad. Of course, there's no engine, so there's no engine noise to worry about. This car, as standard, has 19-inch alloys, which do create a bit of road noise. I do feel like I need to raise my voice just a little bit, but not to the point where I'm having to shout or properly project my voice. And the wind noise is respectable. It's what you would kind of expect from a relatively high-riding SUV. Once again, guys, it is time for Ask Aaron, the segment in which you guys get to ask me questions about whichever car I'm testing. This time it is, of course, all about the Ford Mustang Mach-E. I do have quite a few questions to go through, so let's fire through them. I've got them in my pocket. Okie dokie, we shall kick off with YouTube user Mr. G-GHX. He asks, what I'd really like to know is where Ford got the stuff they smoked before calling this a Mustang. Must have been good poo emoji. Jokes aside, should it live alongside the Mustang originals or should it have been the new Mondeo? Good question. Now, there is of course quite a lot of controversy about using the Mustang name and badge for this car. I think if Ford had used the Mondeo name, there would have been a similar amount to controversy. So really, I think Ford should have just called it the Mach-E and been done with it. But hey, what do I know? Next question is from YouTube user Larze Thingback Pedersen. I do hope I've pronounced that right. Come on, who has such a long name? That's ridiculous. Oh yeah, okay, point taken. They ask, where are we? To what extent do you find the label Mustang is warranted, given that this model is purely electric? Well, in my opinion, I don't think it is warranted, but that's merely my opinion. Right. Instagrammer J_S_Thompson asks, do you think it should be called the Mustang? As you can see, there's a recurring theme happening here, isn't there? No, I don't think it should be called the Mustang. As I said a few moments ago, I think Mach-E would have worked just fine, but hey, like I said, what do I know? YouTube user KMac asks, did you keep looking at the power scale, i.e. the range? Yes, a lot of time I've been driving this car. I've had one eye on the road and one eye on the range. Yeah. Ford states that this is meant to get rid of range anxiety. I don't quite buy into that personally. I think we have just one question left. Yes, it is from Instagrammer Silverbeat_Fuzz. They ask, would you say it's just an SUV similar to what Lamborghini did, or total change for the Mustang line? Well, it could theoretically be both, although I think it's more of the latter compared to the former. Of course, moving forward, Ford can't really afford to keep making big 5-litre V8 muscle cars, so I think this is a glimpse of what the future could be for the Mustang badge, whether you like it or not. And that is it. That is Ask Aaron done and dusted. Thank you for your questions. This is the part where I'm meant to summarise, and in all honesty, I am struggling. This car for me is a bit of a head scratcher. There are some good things about it, but on the other hand, there are some things that rather annoy me. For example, the boot, in my opinion, compared to its rivals, is simply too small. The ride isn't good enough, Ford. You need to improve it, but it is quite a good fun car to drive. You do get a lot of kit as standard. The rear space is impressive. I think it looks fantastic, and it offers quite a competitive range. So I think as a foundation, a starting point, the Mach-E is a good car, but there is room for improvement. A massive thank you to Ford UK for loaning me this car for the week, and of course, a massive thank you for you guys watching this video. I do hope you have enjoyed it or found it useful. If so, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.